Hi, I'm Mark Hamilton for The Right Report, and I've been getting some questions and comments on my prior two videos, and today my producer and wife, Vital Finds, is going to basically run some of those questions and comments by me, and I'm going to give a little bit of a response.
Good. Going to vote for McCain and have more jobs overseas, more war, Iran, ? Tax cuts for the rich, further dwindling middle class. McCain is out of touch with America. But we are more worried about religions and guns. Last time we worried about those two things, we had Bush for 8 years.
It was Barack Obama who said, quotes, "Those people vote on those issues." My actual concern is that Barack Obama is actually a socialist, that his command and control policies will run the U.S. economy into the ground. He is doing exactly the wrong thing that is required when we have a sagging economy. He is behaving just like Herbert Hoover, right? Raise taxes, restrict foreign trade. Okay, there it is. Exactly what Herbert Hoover did to bring on the Great Depression. So let me tell you, the Democrat Party and the left in this country have a real penchant, have a real inclination to basically say that it's Republicans who don't care for mainstream America and middle-class people. In actuality, it is the Democrat Party and the hard left in this country that will actually take us down and run us into oblivion. Okay, next.
From Lollygagger. The more I hear about the out-of-touch elitist label that they throw around to write off Obama's comments, the more I recall back to the petty bourgeoisie label that the Bolsheviks threw around to isolate and liquidate dissent in Soviet Russia.
That's absolutely correct. That was the point of my comment, essentially. And you know, it's funny. A thought just came back to me. One of the comments that the Reverend Wright made was that folks should be anti-middle class. You'll also notice that Michelle Obama made a statement about not pursuing a good job, about pursuing a more worthy job. That's exactly the way Obama feels, exactly the way the communist elitist felt about the middle class, the bourgeois. They're basically going along, living their lives, doing what they're doing, pursuing a middle-class or bourgeois lifestyle, and it offends the elitists. So anyway, bravo, and we'll move on.
I actually agreed with him. I think his diagnosis was apt. I don't think he was out of touch, but honest about the type of situation these communities are now faced with.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, that's just liberal spin, basically. Yes, those communities don't have the best of times. You're basically saying that his comments about them turning to traditional values or acting middle class is basically true, and you called it a diagnosis, which is really interesting because that's exactly what Obama did. He was diagnosing the reason for their vote as being a disease, basically. Bitterness and anger. That's exactly what Obama was doing. He was treating the values of small-town America basically as a mental illness or a pathology. And I think it's really interesting that you slide right in there with the word diagnosis.
Here's a question from Jay. Hi, Jay. What is your opinion on the North American Union?
I really haven't looked into it enough. I have heard rumors that high-ranking politicians in Mexico, the United States, and Canada may want to pursue a North American Union. I don't think it's a really good idea because I really think that nations have interests, and those nations can be contained and should be contained by their national boundaries, and that we should work with diplomacy and collaboratively to establish free trade between countries. But I do not think it's a good idea for us to homogenize the United States and its traditions and its values and its laws with that of Canada and with Mexico to form a North American Union a la the European Union. We're a big enough country, we can basically stand on our own, and we can cooperate and collaborate with other independent nations.
Now I'm basically going to sum up Mel's basket case video response. Hi Mel. She basically said that all liberals are not wealthy and do not have Ivy League educations.
I wasn't indicting all liberals and saying that. I was simply saying in my 2 videos that there is an elitist left wing in this country that are rich and Ivy League educated and basically subscribe to Leninist Marxist philosophy. I wasn't saying all liberals are that way. I was saying some liberals are that way, and they do seem to really have the upper hand in terms of controlling the Democratic Party in this election cycle.
And this is a comment on Mel's video. I live in the city, and everyone here comes from small towns all over America. I seldom come across an elitist sentiment. The only sentiment people express often is a shared feeling with the rest of the country that the current political administration must go.
That's exactly the situation that I find myself in. I live in Northern Virginia, about 30 miles outside of Washington, D.C., and I meet a lot of people from small town America who have come to this region essentially to gain the economic benefits of a large metropolitan area. I did not indict nor criticize liberals in general, nor big city America as being elitist or not understanding the folks from small town America. I talked about a very specific niche within the Democrat Party and the hard left in this country. Basically the liberal elitist left. And those are a definite group of people. They're characterized by the Obamas, by the Kerrys, by the Tom Dashells, and that's it. Okay, I agree with you. I don't know whether your city does or does not have an elitist attitude, because I don't know what city it is, and I would not indict the whole country or all the big cities in America that way.
I'll throw this one out too. You might have something to comment about. Said we need another Harry Truman in the White House. He was a real cool cat that was just an average citizen. Unfortunately, campaign reform let all the rich cats run. Only the rich cats run for the top cat positions.
Well, I don't know a lot about the Truman administration. I think he was a good man. I think he was extremely honest. Which is what I've heard about him, and that kind of integrity is something that I really admire. In fact, one could almost say that, you know, Harry Truman may be a modern example of having a straight talk express. Just like John McCain. He was willing to tell people what they didn't want to hear, and I think that's good for the country. I think pandering always fails and falls short.
Someone mentioned, pertaining to the comment about not getting punished with a baby, he said, well, Obama often flubs up in the sense of political correctness, but sometimes he speaks the truth.
I don't think it's about the words he chooses in his flubs. When he makes these so-called flubs, it seems as if he's in his most natural, freewheeling moments where he feels comfortable. I heard the words, punish with a baby. He wasn't stumbling, he wasn't hesitant. Those words rolled off his tongue, just like his quote concerning people in small town America. So I don't really agree with that. I think it's basically, and I'll say it, liberal Democrat spin to say he's inarticulate with his words. He is of the hard left in this country, and he does hold these sorts of beliefs. Okay? Just stop with that.
That's all I have.
Okay, fine. This is Mark Hamilton for The Wright Report, signing off.